The plasma bolt screamed past Danny Carter's head, scorching the metal wall behind him. He didn't flinch. 3 armed Krell soldiers burst through the corridor entrance, their weapons already charging for another volley. The alien princess pressed against his back, her crystalline skin shimmering with fear. "Can you defend me, human?" Princess Lyra's voice trembled as another explosion rocked the station. Danny's hand moved to his sidearm. "Stay behind me." The lead Krell fired. Danny's body twisted with impossible speed, the energy blast missing by millimeters. His return shot caught the soldier square in the chest plate, dropping him instantly. The other 2 spread out, trying to flank. They had no idea what they were dealing with. The princess had hired him 3 hours ago at the edge of neutral space. "A simple escort job," she said. "Get her from the trading post to her ship. Standard protection detail." She offered triple the going rate, which should have been his first warning. Nobody paid that much unless trouble was guaranteed. The trouble arrived faster than expected. Krell assassins, a dozen at least, blocking every exit. They wanted the princess dead, and they didn't care about collateral damage. The station's emergency alarms wailed as civilians scattered in every direction. Danny fired twice more, 2 clean hits. The Krell stumbled back, their armor cracking under the impact. They looked confused. Human weapons weren't supposed to penetrate their shields. Human reflexes weren't supposed to be that fast. "How are you doing this?" Lyra whispered. He ignored the question. 4 more Krell rounded the corner ahead. Danny grabbed the princess and pulled her into a side passage. The narrow maintenance corridor offered limited cover, but it would slow their pursuers. He needed to reach the docking bay. Her ship waited in berth 7, only 200 meters away. A Krell appeared at the corridor's far end. Danny shot without aiming, trusting his enhanced neural pathways to calculate the trajectory. The soldier dropped. Behind them, footsteps echoed. They were being boxed in. "Listen carefully," Danny said, reloading. "When I move, you run straight ahead. Don't stop. Don't look back. But there are too many of them. That's my problem, not yours." He stepped into the intersection. 6 Krell stood between them and the docking bay. Their commander barked orders in their guttural language. Danny understood every word. They thought he was just another weak human, just another target. The commander raised his weapon. Danny moved first. His body blurred with enhanced speed, closing the distance before they could react. His fist connected with the nearest soldier's jaw, the impact reverberating through reinforced bone. The Krell flew backward, crashing into his companions. Princess Lyra stared in shock. This wasn't possible. Humans were supposed to be fragile, weak, slow. Danny grabbed her wrist. "Run." Now, they sprinted toward the docking bay as chaos erupted behind them. The docking bay doors loomed ahead, massive steel barriers designed to withstand explosive decompression. Right now, they were sealed tight. Danny's tactical visor flickered to life, scanning the lock mechanism. Military grade. Encrypted. It would take a skilled hacker 20 minutes to breach. He had 5 seconds. His fingers danced across the control panel, neural implants syncing with the station's security network. The encryption crumbled like tissue paper. The doors groaned open just as plasma fire erupted from the corridor behind them. Danny shoved Lyra through the gap and rolled after her. Bullets of superheated energy carving molten scars across the deck. The docking bay stretched before them, a cavernous space filled with ships of every design. Lyra's vessel sat at the far end, a sleek diplomatic cruiser with royal markings etched along its hull. Between them and safety stood 8 more Krell soldiers, already taking positions behind cargo containers. "Your ship better have weapons," Danny muttered. "It's a diplomatic vessel." "We're not supposed to need weapons." "Perfect." The Krell opened fire. Danny dove left, pulling Lyra with him. They crashed behind a fuel canister, shots hammering their cover. The princess clutched his arm, her alien eyes wide with terror. She had never seen real combat, never felt the heat of plasma fire, or smelled the acrid stench of melting metal. Danny checked his ammunition. 3 magazines left. Not enough for a prolonged firefight. He needed a different approach. "How fast is your ship?" he asked. fast enough to outrun most interceptors. Why? Because we're not walking to it. He spotted a cargo loader 20 meters to their right, its anti-grav platform still active. The controls were simple enough. Probably, Danny broke from cover, moving within human speed. Plasma bolts tracked his movement, always a fraction too slow. His augmented reflexes calculated trajectories faster than any organic brain could process. He reached the loader and slammed his fist into the control panel, overriding the safety protocols. The platform roared to life, engines screaming. Danny redirected its path toward the Krell positions, then sprinted back to Lyra. The soldiers scrambled as the massive machine bore down on them, scattering their formation. It bought exactly what Danny needed. Time. Move! He grabbed Lyra's hand and ran. They crossed the docking bay in seconds, feet pounding against metal grating. The ship's boarding ramp descended automatically, sensing Lyra's biometric signature. They were 10 meters away when the cargo loader exploded, debris raining across the bay. A Krell soldier emerged from the smoke, weapon leveled at Lyra's back. Danny twisted, his pistol already rising. 2 shots. Both found their mark. The soldier collapsed. They reached the ramp. Danny pushed Lyra up first, then followed, providing covering fire. More Krell poured into the bay, at least a dozen. Station security would respond eventually, but not before the assassins finished their job. Inside the ship, Lyra ran for the cockpit. Danny sealed the boarding ramp and activated the internal defenses. Basic stuff. Energy barriers, automated turrets. Not enough to stop a determined assault, but it would slow them down. He found Lyra in the pilot seat, her crystalline fingers flying over unfamiliar controls. Despite her fear, she worked with practiced efficiency. Royal training, probably. Every princess learned to fly. "How long until we launch?" Danny asked. 2 minutes for the engines to warm, 1 more for the clamps to release. "We don't have 3 minutes. Outside, the Krell regrouped. Their commander barked orders, organizing a coordinated assault. They had heavy weapons now, powerful enough to breach the ship's hull. Danny watched through the external cameras as they set up their positions. "Can this ship's weapons fire while docked?" he asked. "Technically, yes, but station regulations prohibit it. We'd be violating at least 6 interstellar laws. I'll take my chances with lawyers over assassins." Danny accessed the weapons console. The ship's armaments were limited for a diplomatic vessel, but they would suffice. Point defense lasers, a pair of missile pods. He locked onto the Krell positions and fired. The bay erupted in flames. Krell soldiers dove for cover as lasers carved through metal containers. 1 missile found its target, the explosion throwing bodies like toys. The survivors retreated, their assault broken. "Engines online," Lyra announced. "Get us out of here." The ship shuddered as docking clamps released, thrusters fired, lifting them off the deck. The bay's atmospheric shields shimmered as they passed through, entering the void of space. Behind them, the station grew smaller, its rotating sections glinting in the light of a distant sun. Danny checked the sensors. No pursuit yet. Either the Krell were regrouping or station security had finally locked down the bay. Either way, they had a window. Lyra engaged the faster-than-light drive. Space twisted around them, stars stretching into lines. They would be safe for now, but Danny knew better than to relax. Someone had sent those assassins. Someone with resources and connections. This wasn't over. The princess slumped in her seat, adrenaline fading. She looked at Danny with new eyes, seeing past the human exterior to something else underneath. "What are you?" she asked quietly. Danny checked his weapons, reloading methodically. Someone who keeps their contracts. No ordinary human moves like that, shoots like that. I've studied your species. You're supposed to be baseline, limited. Most humans are, but not you. Danny met her gaze. "No, not me." Lyra studied him for a long moment, then turned back to the navigation console. Her fingers trembled slightly as she plotted their course. They were heading toward the Andrali sector, neutral territory where her family maintained a safe house. 3 days of travel at current speeds. 3 days trapped in a small ship with questions neither of them wanted to answer. "The Krell don't usually send that many soldiers for a simple assassination," Danny said. "Who wants you dead?" "Half the galaxy, apparently." Lyra pulled up a holographic display showing star charts and political boundaries. "My father is negotiating a peace treaty with the Thoran Empire. If it succeeds, it ends a war that's lasted 40 years. Lots of people profit from that war. Weapons manufacturers, military contractors, pirates, and my uncle." She said it quietly, but Danny heard the pain beneath the words. He commands the royal fleet. Peace means his power diminishes, his wealth, his influence, so he hired Krell assassins to kill his own niece. I can't prove it, but yes. Danny moved to the weapons locker, inventorying their supplies. The diplomatic ship carried surprisingly robust armaments once you knew where to look. Lyra's people weren't naive. They understood that diplomacy often needed a backup plan. "Why hire me?" he asked. "Your government has security forces, elite guards. Why pay a human mercenary?" "Because humans have a reputation. The galaxy thinks you're weak, but the ones who actually fight humans know different. Every major conflict in the past century, humans have been there, winning against impossible odds, surviving what should kill you." Danny checked the charge on a plasma rifle. "We're stubborn. You're enhanced. All of you, or at least the ones who leave Earth are." There it was. The truth that humanity kept carefully hidden. Danny had wondered when she would figure it out. "Not all humans," he said carefully, "but enough." "How long have your people been doing this? The enhancements?" "Longer than anyone knows." Danny locked the weapons locker and leaned against the bulkhead. "When humanity first reached the stars, we realized something. We were fragile compared to most species. Weaker, slower. We would either enhance ourselves or become servants, prey. So you changed yourselves. Some of us, the ones who volunteered for military service, the ones who went into dangerous professions. We needed every advantage we could get." Lyra's eyes widened. "How many enhanced humans are out there? Enough that the galaxy should be worried, but not so many that we've tipped our hand." The ship's alarm chirped. Danny's head snapped toward the sensor display. 3 contacts, closing fast. Military signatures. "Krell interceptors. They found us," Lyra whispered. Danny was already moving, sliding into the co-pilot's seat. His hands flew across the tactical console, analyzing the threat. The interceptors were fast, heavily armed. They would overtake the diplomatic cruiser in minutes. "Can we outrun them?" he asked. "Not in normal space. If we jump to faster than light now, they'll track our exit vector. They'll know where we're going, then we fight. This ship isn't designed for combat against interceptors." Danny activated the weapon systems. "Everything's designed for combat if you're creative enough." The lead interceptor fired a warning shot, the energy bolt streaking past their bow. A message appeared on the communications console. "Standard Krell. Surrender or be destroyed." Danny killed the transmission. "What are you doing?" Lyra asked. "Buying time." "How long until we can jump?" 90 seconds. The faster-than-light drive needs to recalibrate. Make it 60. Danny fired the aft missiles, not at the interceptors, but at the space between them. The explosions created a cloud of superheated debris and electromagnetic interference. The Krell ships scattered, their sensors temporarily blinded. 40 seconds. The interceptors recovered faster than expected. Their commander was good. He split his formation, coming at them from 3 different angles. Smart, it eliminated the debris as cover. Danny launched countermeasures, flooding space with false sensor signatures. The interceptors fired, but their targeting systems locked onto decoys. Real missiles streaked past the diplomatic cruiser, missing by meters. One interceptor broke through, closing to point-blank range. Its weapons charged, energy building for a killing shot. Danny redirected all power from life support to the shields. The ship's environmental systems flickered and died. They would suffocate in 15 minutes, but that didn't matter if they died in the next 10 seconds. The interceptor fired. The shield flared brilliant white, absorbing the impact. Metal groaned. Circuits overloaded, but the shield held. 10 seconds. Danny returned fire, not trying to destroy the interceptor, but to drive it back. The Krell pilot veered away, avoiding the plasma bursts. It gave them the space they needed. 5 seconds. "Jump now!" Danny shouted. Lyra slammed her hand down on the control. Faster-than-light drive screamed to life. Space folded around them, reality bending. The interceptors vanished, replaced by the impossible geometry of faster-than-light travel. They were safe. For now, Danny restored power to life support. The ship's atmosphere processors kicked in, flooding the cabin with breathable air. Lyra gasped, her crystalline skin fading from pale blue to its normal violet shade. "That was too close," she said. "They'll be waiting at the safe house. Your uncle knows all your father's secure locations." "Then where do we go?" Danny pulled up a star chart, selecting coordinates deep in human territory. Somewhere they won't expect. Somewhere they won't follow. Where? Earth. Lyra stared at him, like he had suggested jumping into a star. Earth is forbidden territory. The treaties specifically prohibit alien presence without authorization, which makes it the perfect hiding place. Nobody will look for you there. Your government will arrest me the moment we enter their space. Not if we don't tell them you're aboard. The journey to Earth took 4 days instead of 3. Danny plotted a winding course through barely mapped space, avoiding trade routes and military patrols. The Krell were hunting them. So were Lyra's own people, though whether they meant to rescue or silence her remained unclear. During those 4 days, an uneasy partnership formed. Lyra learned that Danny had been enhanced 12 years ago, volunteering for the program after his colony was raided by pirates. The military had rebuilt him piece by piece. Faster reflexes, stronger muscles, neural implants that let him interface with technology like it was an extension of his own mind. Danny learned that Lyra wasn't just a princess. She was a trained diplomat, fluent in 17 languages, with advanced degrees in interstellar law. She had spent her entire life preparing to broker peace between species that wanted nothing more than to destroy each other. She believed in that peace with a fervour that bordered on religious. "You really think the treaty will work?" Danny asked on the 3rd night. "It has to. The alternative is another century of war. Millions more dead. Your uncle doesn't think so. My uncle is a fool blinded by power." Her voice carried an edge of bitterness. He thinks military might equal strength. He doesn't understand that true strength comes from knowing when not to fight. Earth appeared on their sensors at dawn on the 4th day. The blue marble hung in space, its oceans glittering, its clouds swirling in endless patterns. Humanity's homeworld, the birthplace of a species that had clawed its way from the mud to the stars through sheer stubborn determination. Defense satellites pinged them immediately. Danny transmitted his authorization codes, outdated military credentials that should have been purged years ago. Somehow, they still worked. Either the system was poorly maintained, or someone was helping him from the inside. They descended through the atmosphere, heat shields glowing red. Danny aimed for the northern continent, a sprawling metropolis called New Seattle. Urban centers were easy to disappear in, millions of people, thousands of ships arriving daily. One more diplomatic cruiser wouldn't attract attention. They landed at a commercial spaceport on the city's edge. Danny paid the docking fees in cryptocurrency, untraceable and anonymous. Lyra stayed hidden in the crew quarters while he handled the bureaucracy. Human officials barely glanced at his papers. They had seen thousands of ships today. They would see thousands more tomorrow. "Stay close," Danny said as they left the ship. "Earth's safe, but that doesn't mean we're safe." Lyra pulled a hooded cloak around her shoulders, hiding her crystalline features. In the right light, she could pass for human. Maybe. If nobody looked too closely, the city overwhelmed her senses. Millions of humans moving in coordinated chaos, vehicles flying at impossible speeds, buildings that scraped the sky. The air tasted of ozone and recycled atmosphere, but underneath it, something organic, alive. "Your people built all this?" she asked. "This is nothing. You should see the core cities." They took an automated taxi to the industrial district, an area of warehouses and manufacturing plants. Danny had a contact here, someone from his military days, someone who owed him favors. The warehouse looked abandoned, its windows dark, its doors sealed. Danny knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more. An old code, probably outdated. The door opened. A woman stood in the entrance, dark-skinned with silver hair pulled back in a tight braid. Her eyes were augmented, glowing faintly amber in the dim light. She looked at Danny, then at Lyra, then back at Danny. "You brought an alien to Earth," she said flatly. "Hello to you too, Lisa. Do you have any idea how many laws you just broke?" "Several. I lost count around 20. Lisa sighed and stepped aside. "Get in here before someone sees her." The warehouse interior was larger than it appeared from outside. Equipment filled every corner. Weapons, armor, technology that shouldn't exist outside military installations. Lisa ran an underground operation, supplying enhanced soldiers who worked off the books. "People like Danny. Why are you here?" Lisa asked. "We need weapons, supplies, information." "About?" Krell hit squads operating in human space. Lisa's expression darkened. "The Krell sent assassins to Earth? They will. Soon? They want her dead." Danny nodded toward Lyra. "She's Princess Lyra of the Andrali dynasty. Her testimony is the key to a peace treaty that ends a 40-year war. And people want to stop that peace. Her own uncle hired the assassins." Lisa walked to a computer terminal and began typing. "I've heard rumors. Krell ships moving through the outer colonies. Bribes paid to dock workers. Someone's building an operation. Can you find them?" "Maybe. But Danny, if the Krell are serious about this, they'll have brought their best. Not the thugs you fought at the station. Real professionals. Then we'll need to be better." Alarm chirped on Lisa's console. She frowned, pulling up surveillance feeds from around the warehouse. Multiple angles showed the surrounding streets. Most were empty. One wasn't. 3 figures moved through the shadows. They wore civilian clothes, but their movements betrayed military training. One carried a long case. Sniper rifle, probably. "They found us," Lisa said. Danny's hand went to his weapon. "How? Does it matter?" Lisa was already moving, activating the warehouse's defenses. Blast shields dropped over the windows. Automated turrets emerged from hidden panels. Lyra backed toward the rear wall, her face pale. "I'm sorry. I've brought death to your world." Danny checked his ammunition. "Don't apologize yet. The night's just getting started." The first shot came through the roof, not from outside, but from above. Someone had been waiting on the warehouse's upper level. The sniper round punched through metal and missed Lyra by centimeters. She dove behind an equipment crate as more shots followed. "They're already inside," Lisa growled, drawing her own weapon. "Must have breached during the shift change." Danny's tactical implants mapped the warehouse in his mind. Multiple entry points, multiple shooters. This wasn't a random assault. They had planned this. Studied the building, knew exactly where to position their people. An explosion rocked the main entrance. The blast door held, but barely. Through the smoke, armored figures advanced. Not Krell this time. These were humans. Mercenaries. Hired killers who didn't care about interstellar politics or peace treaties. They cared about money, and someone had paid them very well. "How many?" Danny asked. 12 outside. At least 3 inside. Lisa fired toward the upper catwalks, forcing the sniper to relocate. Professional crew. Military-grade equipment. We're outnumbered. Story of our lives. Danny moved without thinking, his enhanced body responding faster than conscious thought. He rode left as gunfire tore through his previous position. His return shots were precise, calculated. 2 mercenaries dropped. The others took cover. Lisa threw a grenade toward the entrance. The explosion bought them seconds. She used that time to reach a control panel, her fingers dancing across the interface. The warehouse's internal defenses activated fully. Automated turrets swiveled towards hostile targets. Energy barriers flickered to life across key choke points. It wouldn't be enough. The mercenaries were too skilled, too prepared. They had counters for everything. Lyra watched the battle unfold with growing horror. This was her fault. These people were dying because of her, because of a peace treaty that might never happen, because her uncle valued power more than family. "I should surrender," she said. "Not an option," Danny snapped. "They won't take you alive. They'll kill you and claim it was an accident during capture. Then what do? We win." A mercenary broke through the defensive line, charging directly at Lyra. Danny intercepted him, moving with impossible speed. Their bodies collided with bone-breaking force. The mercenary's armor absorbed the impact, but barely. Danny struck again, targeting weak points in the plating. Joints, seals, anywhere the protection was thinner. The mercenary fought back, trained in close combat. But training only went so far against someone whose reaction time was measured in milliseconds. Danny's fist connected with the man's helmet. The faceplate cracked. One more hit, and it shattered completely. The mercenary fell, unconscious. Two more took his place. Lisa was pinned down, trading fire with shooters on the upper level. The automated turrets were offline, disabled by electromagnetic pulses. The energy barriers flickered and died. Their defenses were collapsing. Danny faced the two mercenaries alone. They spread out, trying to flank him. Standard tactics. Effective against normal humans. He wasn't normal. Danny's neural implants processed a dozen combat scenarios simultaneously, calculating probabilities and outcomes. He moved before his opponents could react, closing the distance to the nearest mercenary. His hand shot out, catching the man's rifle and twisting it aside. The weapon fired uselessly into the floor. Danny drove his elbow into the mercenary's throat. The man stumbled back, gasping. The second mercenary fired. Danny used the first man as a shield, the shots hitting armor instead of flesh. Then he threw the injured mercenary at his partner, both men crashing to the ground in a tangle of limbs. 3 down. 9 to go. An alarm sounded, not from the warehouse defenses, but from Lisa's personal system. She checked her console and swore. More contacts incoming. Military signatures. Whose military? Danny asked. Ours. Earth Defense Force, someone called them. The mercenaries heard it too. They began retreating, pulling back toward their exit points. They had failed their mission and couldn't afford to be caught by official forces. Within seconds, they were gone, vanishing into the city like ghosts. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. "We need to leave," Lisa said. "Now, before they lock down the sector. They'll track the ship. Not if I scrub the registration first." Lisa was already typing, hacking into spaceport databases. "Give me 30 seconds. Danny helped Lyra to her feet. She was shaking, the reality of violence catching up with her. She had studied war, written papers about it, negotiated ceasefires, but she had never truly understood what it meant until tonight. "Why did you save me?" she asked quietly. "You could have walked away at any point." Danny reloaded his weapon. "Because I made a promise. And because maybe your peace treaty is worth fighting for. But you're a soldier. Peace means you lose your purpose. I'm a soldier because there's no peace. When your treaty succeeds, maybe people like me can finally rest." Lisa finished her work. "Done. Your ship's clean. As far as official records show, it never landed here." They left through a hidden exit, moving through service tunnels beneath the city. Earth Defense Force vehicles surrounded the warehouse, but they were too late. Danny, Lyra, and Lisa were already gone. At the spaceport, Lyra's ship waited, fueled and ready. Danny ran final checks while Lisa uploaded new navigation data. "There's a Andrali embassy on Titan Station," Lisa said. "Neutral ground. Heavy security. Your uncle can't touch you there. Will you come with me?" Lyra asked Danny. He shook his head. "You don't need me anymore. You know what you're fighting for now. Not theory, not politics. Real peace. The kind worth bleeding for. What will you do? What I always do. Find the next job. Keep fighting until there's nothing left to fight for." Lyra touched his arm, a gesture of gratitude. Then she boarded her ship. Danny watched the diplomatic cruiser lift off, engines burning bright against the night sky. It climbed through the atmosphere and disappeared among the stars. Lisa stood beside him. "Think her treaty will work? Maybe, if she's half as stubborn as humans are." That's not exactly high praise. For us, Danny smiled, it's the highest praise there is. They walked back into the city, 2 enhanced humans among millions. Tomorrow would bring new threats, new battles. But tonight, they had won. And sometimes that was enough. Somewhere in the darkness, Princess Lyra flew toward her destiny. The human who had defended her was already becoming a memory, but the lesson he taught remained. Strength wasn't about power. It was about choosing to fight when everything told you to run. It was about keeping promises when breaking them would be easier. It was about being human. And that, more than any enhancement or weapon, was what made humanity dangerous, what made them survivors, what made them, in their own way, unstoppable. The galaxy would learn that lesson eventually. One way or another, they always did.